What's going on, guys? I welcome you all to this new session of Analog and Digital Communication Lab, where I'll be taking you through the second experiment of Part B set of simulation experiments. So, in this session, we'll be discussing some of the drawbacks of previously existing schemes like pulse code modulation and differential pulse code modulation, as well as I'll also take you through some of the basics of delta modulation and some of the equations related to it. And finally, let's try to simulate the working of delta modulation in MATLAB. So without wasting any further time, let's get started. So before we start to discuss this delta modulation, let's first try to go through some of the drawbacks of pulse code modulation. And the very first drawback of pulse code modulation is its large dynamic range. Given a very large dynamic range of Vmax and Vmin, this would in turn result in to have large number of levels L. As the L number increases, so parallelly the number of bits used also increases. Here level is related to number of bits used in this fashion, that is L is equal to 2 power n. So as L increases, n also increases, and in turn as the number of bits increases, this in turn results in increase of transmission bandwidth. So as the transmission bandwidth increases, we need to pour in a lot of money to buy that bandwidth, because this bandwidth is finite in nature. So we got to pour in lot amount of money in order to buy that bandwidth. So this is the very first drawback of PCM, and the other drawback of PCM is large redundant bits. So the meaning of large redundant bits here is, so as we all know, redundant is extra bits. So here what we'll do is, we'll be passing large amount of redundant bits or extra bits while transmitting our digital data. So if I take up any signal that which is like this, so let this be our analog signal and let this be its amplitude and this is time, and let's assume that when I sample this, I'll be considering its sample at, I'll be sampling it at equal intervals of time. So let this be TS, 2TS, 3TS, 4TS and 5TS, and let the sample value over this time interval be this value, this. After sampling, so let me remove this. So these are the sample values that which we are having. So these samples values in turn will be sent through a quantization process, where our very first level be 0, 0, 0. The second level be 0, 0, 1. Let's assume that I am making use of 3 bits in order to represent each sample over here. So let the value of n be equal to 3. So because of that, the number of levels used are equal to 8. So its value starts from 0 and it ends at 7. So the starting value is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1 followed by 0, 1, 0. The next value is 0, 1, 1. So likewise till 1, 1, 1. Now over here, if I consider this value, so this sample value is very much nearer to 0, 0, 1. So I'll be rounding it off to this quantization level. So the very first value will be 0, 0, 1. And the second sample is also almost nearer to the same quantization level. So again, I'll stick on to the same quantization level. Followed by third sample value is also of same value, and here if I consider my fourth sample value, it's much more closer to 0, 1, 0, followed by next sample value is closer to 0, 1, 1. So here we can see that practical signals are having high correlation index. So the meaning of this is that if we sample any practical signals, the adjacent values are of very much similar values. So thereby we'll be transmitting extra number of bits over here, as well as if I consider these two values, if I consider my 4th sample value and 5th sample value, so here the starting two bit values are same, that is 0, 1 here in this case as well as 0, 1 in this case, and the only value that which is changing is in this portion. And hence we are trying to send large amount of redundant bits. As the number of bits increases, this affects our transmission bandwidth. So our ultimate aim should be to minimize this bandwidth by controlling the number of bits used to represent each quantization level. So in order to eliminate this drawback of pulse code modulation, we went for the other improvised scheme, that which is known as differential pulse code modulation, wherein instead of encoding the samples, the difference between the samples are encoded. So this conserves a lot of bandwidth, and in turn we can make use of very less number of bits in order to represent our difference data. Now the thing is, here we are saving bandwidth as well as less number of bits are used, but the only drawback of this differential pulse code modulation is complexity of the system. So in order to implement this differential pulse code modulation, we need to implement lot of blocks over here, and this in turn results in a very complex system. But there are situations wherein we need to minimize the hardware complexity, and as a solution for that we are having delta modulation, and this delta modulation is abbreviated as DM, and this delta modulation is a special case of differential pulse code modulation, wherein we'll be making use of only one level quantizer, and the other component that which we use is a prediction filter. So by using only these two components, by using only these two blocks, we can realize this delta modulation, and let's go through this in detail. So now let's go through this delta modulation. So these are some of the snips that I have taken from the textbook Simon Hyken, so wherein they have given some explanation for this delta modulation. So here I have highlighted the important points over here. So this differential pulse code modulation exploits complexity to bandwidth trade-off. So here, by increasing the complexity of the entire system, we are in turn trying to conserve the bandwidth. So this is happening in DPCM, differential pulse code modulation. However, in practice, the need may arise to reduce system complexity compared to the standard PCM. And in order to achieve this other objective, transmission bandwidth is traded off for reduced system complexity. So by using this delta modulation, anyhow we'll be reducing the complexity of the entire system, but at what cost? At the cost of a slight increase in bandwidth. A slight increase in bandwidth requirement for transmission. So this is precisely the motivation behind the delta modulation. And in order to meet this delta modulation, the incoming message signal M of t is oversampled, which requires the use of a sampling rate higher than Nyquist rate. We all know Nyquist rate formula, that which is sampling frequency should be greater than or equal to 2 times that of maximum frequency component of message signal. So here, because we need to do oversampling of our message signal, so we can remove this equality sign and we can make use of much greater than sign over here. So we got to make use of a sampling frequency that which is much higher than that of this Nyquist rate. So now let's go through the transmitter part of this delta modulator. So in delta modulator transmitter, system complexity is reduced to the minimum possible by using the combination of only 2 strategies, and these strategies are, first one is single bit quantizer. So here we'll make use of a single bit quantizer, which is the simplest quantizing strategy, and it is depicted in this diagram. So here we are making use of just a single bit quantizer. The quantizer acts as a hard limiter with only two decision levels, namely plus or minus delta. And let's see how this hard limiting is happening using this 1-bit quantizer. And the second component that which we require is a single unit delay element. This is the most primitive form of a predictor, and we can also call this primitive form of predictor as accumulator. So all it involves is a delay element within itself. So here what we'll do is we'll take up the sampled message signal mn and it will be fed to a summer. So along with these two components, we also need two summers over here. Summer component, or we can also call it as adders, wherein for the first summer we'll pass the sampled message signal directly, but whereas the other signal to that is, so we call this as predicted output. So here we'll subtract these two signals, and after subtracting these two values we'll get an error value, and this error value will be sent through this 1-bit quantizer, where depending upon its sign, depending upon the sign of this en, we will have our output and we'll call it as EQN. So where we'll add in this subscript Q in order to represent quantized error. So this is no longer just error, but we can call it as quantized error. And in fact this EQN will be made to pass through this single unit delay element, and in turn will be fed back as our predicted output. So for the new sampled value, we'll subtract it with previous predicted output or previous quantized error output. And finally, we'll be passing this quantized error output through an encoder in order to get delta modulated encoded signal. So this is about the transmitter stage. So here are the equations where we can get this E subscript n, that is error output, by subtracting mn with that of m cap n, where m cap n is the predicted output. And in turn, this predicted output is as good as mq of n-1, because this is being passed through a single unit delay element. So because of that, we are having this n-1. It is not just n but n-1. And here EQN is equal to delta of signum function of En. And we all know how this signum function looks like. So signum function is a function that which takes on value equal to +1 for all its positive value. So here, because this signum function is a function of En, let's assume this x-axis to be En. So signum function of En over here can be thought of as a signal that which takes on +1 amplitude value for positive values of En, and it takes on value equal to -1 for negative values of En. So depending upon the value of En, whether it's positive or negative, the sign of this delta will be decided. So this quantized error output is equal to either positive delta of En if En is greater than 0, and it takes on value negative delta if En is lesser than 0. So this is what we are supposed to know. And in fact, MQN is in turn equal to this delayed output plus EQN, because this can be thought of as the output of second summer. So if I carefully examine over here, to this second summer we are feeding in EQN, and the other input to this is MQN-1. So this in turn results in MQN. So based on all these equations, we can conclude that the error signal En is positive, in which case the approximation m cap n is equal to mq of n-1 is increased by an amount of plus delta. In this first case, the encoded sends out symbol 1. So it sends out symbol 1 for positive delta. In a similar way, if the error signal is negative, in which case the approximation mn cap is in turn equal to mq n minus 1 is reduced by an amount of delta, that is negative delta. In this second case, the encoder sends out symbol 0. So for positive delta, it sends out symbol 1, and for negative delta, it sends symbol 0. So this is what the encoder ultimately transmits. So let's have a look at its working. So let's see how this delta modulation works. So back in this diagram, let's consider this dotted line as our analog signal, that which is getting sampled at regular intervals of Ts. So let's assume this to be Ts. Next, let it be 2Ts, 3Ts, 4Ts, likewise. So here, during our very first sampling interval, here we can see that this is where we are having our analog signal, but our predicted output is at a higher level. So when this is passed through our very first summer stage, so this is our predicted output and this is our sampled output. When subtraction happens, this in turn results in an error value, and this error value is negative in this case. So because of that, this decreases the step value by delta according to our definition. So if the error signal is negative, in that case, m cap n is reduced by an amount of delta. So this is getting decreased by an amount of delta. So this value over here is delta, and will remain in the same level till the second sampling interval. So when we receive the second sample value, we can get to know that the sampled output is still at a lesser value, and again predicted output is at a higher level. So this in turn results in an error value that which is again negative, and depending upon that, this again decreases by a level of delta, and it remains in the same level till the next sampled value is received. And at this point, the sampled value at third time instant, so at 3Ts, the sampled output is at higher level compared to that of our predicted output, and because of that, the error value that which we'll receive is positive. And when the error value is positive, then m cap n, that is predicted output, is increased by an amount of delta. So because of that, here we are having an increase, and will remain in the same level till we get our next sampled output. And when we receive our fourth sampled output, now we can see that this dotted line is at a lower level compared to that of this, and this in turn results in a negative error value because our predicted output is at a higher level whereas our sampled output is at a lower level. So because of that, it decreases by a value of delta and will remain in the same level till we receive our next sampled value, and the same cycle repeats, and ultimately we'll get a staircase approximation. We'll end up with a staircase approximation. So at time intervals where the error value is negative, we'll be transmitting symbol 0, and at places where our error value is positive, so this is where our error value is positive, and at this time interval the encoder transmits symbol 1. So here the error value is negative, because of that transmitted symbol is again 0, and for the remaining cases from here to here, because we can see that we are having staircase that which is moving in the up the hill direction, so here error value is positive from here to till here, it's positive. So because of that, symbol transmitted is 1, and whereas at this point error value is again negative, because of that symbol transmitted is 0, and the same cycle repeats over here. So this is how we can illustrate delta modulation. Now let's try to simulate the working of delta modulation, and the program for this can be found in your lab manual. Experiment number 2A is titled delta modulation, wherein this is the program that which you are supposed to write in your MATLAB editor. So what I have done is I have already written this program in my MATLAB editor and I have saved this file as deltamod.m. So let me first increase the font size of this editor, and in order to increase the font size, all I got to do is go to under Home tab. I got to go to this environment. Under environment, I hope you can see this preferences. So hit on this preferences. So here under desktop code font at the rightmost end, you will get a drop down option wherein you can change it to 18. So after changing it to 18, hit apply and OK. So this is how we can change our font size in MATLAB. So after changing this, anyhow the starting 3 statements are as usual, and these statements have already been explained by Amarappa sir in detail. So here we'll make use of a variable b where it's initialized to 0, and this variable is used as staircase initial value, and this value is initialized to 0, or this b is at value equal to 0 because initial predicted output should always be equal to 0. We'll assume that we'll start with 0 value, and after setting this variable b equal to 0, we'll set the frequency for analog signal and let that variable be fc, and here we are setting it to a value equal to 0.1 Hertz, and in the next line we are setting this sampling interval, and the sampling interval here is 67, and in order to get this value, what we have done is we have used this colon operator such that 0 indicates its starting value and 20 indicates its ending value, and I want some set of values between 0 to 20, but at what step size? But at 0.3 step size. So in fact I'll be getting over 67 sampling interval values. So after that we'll use a delta value equal to 0.01. So here we are setting the delta size to be equal to 0.01. We are setting it to a low value in order to overcome the quantization error, or because of step size we usually find quantization noise, and this quantization noise can be reduced by using very small step size. After that, in order to get our analog signal, we'll make use of a sine function. So we have used here sine function of 2 pi. Fc value here used is 0.1 into n here is somewhere around 67 values of n will be getting, and this in turn creates a sinusoidal waveform xn. So that will be our message signal. So after that, let's make use of our equations that which we have already discussed in our theory part, and for all the values of n, so because we have right now got somewhere around 67 sampled values, so for all those 67 sample values, let's try to compare it with that of our predicted output, and depending upon this error value, so you can see that we are trying to subtract our sampled input with that of the predicted output, and depending upon the sign of this subtraction, that is that which is assigned to t, we will decide whether to go for positive delta or whether to go for negative delta, and depending upon that the encoder will transmit symbol 1 or symbol 0. If this error value that which is assigned to t, if it is negative, we are considering signum function in our next, so and we are assigning signum function of t to y, and if this y is equal to 1, if the transmitted bit is equal to 1, for our next approximation we will increase our delta, such that xn of I is added with this delta value, and in turn this new value will be assigned onto our predicted output. Or else if it's negative, if this error value is negative, then signum function of t will be 0, and thereby y value will be equal to 0, that which makes the else part to execute. When the else part gets executed, here we can see that this x n of I will be subtracted with this delta value and in turn will be assigned onto yn, and this updated value of yn of I plus 1 will be assigned onto our predicted output, and this happens for all 67 values, in turn resulting in a staircase approximation. And in order to have all those plots, we'll make use of keyword figure 1, and I'll make use of the inbuilt function plot in order to plot our message signal against n, and I want that to be in green in color. So because of that, I am using this additional argument g. So this creates a 2D line plot of data, that which is our analog signal, where this y-axis will be mapped onto xn, and this will be plotted against the x-axis, that which corresponds to time, and here time is represented in terms of n. And when this plot pops up, we will retain that plot by using the keyword hold on, and we'll plot our staircase approximation onto the same picture, for which again we'll copy all those 67 sampling intervals onto a new variable n1, and we'll make use of the keyword stairs in order to have a stair step graph where we'll be plotting this yn, that which indicates our delta modulated output, and this delta modulated output is plotted against n1, that is for again 67 values, and we'll make use of blue color in order to indicate it. And here let's give some title for the picture. So let this window be titled as signals, where let's make use of x label as equal to either continuous time or discrete time, and y label b, because the y-axis indicates both our analog signal as well as the delta modulated signal. So we have used xt/yn, where yn indicates delta modulated output, and let's make use of corresponding legend, that which indicates original signal or the message signal or the analog signal followed by modulated signal, and here modulated means specifically delta modulated signal. So after writing all these codes, if I execute this program, and the shortcut to execute this program is F5 of your keyboard, this in turn results in an output window that which contains the original message signal, that which is green in color, and our delta modulated output, that which is blue in color. And if I zoom this in, we can get to know that the very first sampling interval over here is happening at 0.3 as decided by our program. So during the starting sampling interval equal to 0.3, we can clearly see that our analog signal or the message signal is at a higher level compared to that of our predicted output. So this being our predicted output. That is the value of B, and the value of B here is initialized to 0. So because the message signal is at a higher value compared to that of our predicted output, when such values are made to pass through our starting summer, so here the value that which we are trying to pass through here is 0, whereas the value here is having some finite value equal to somewhere around 0.2, and in turn this results in a positive error value equal to 0.2. So because the error value is positive over here, because the error value over here is positive, when this is made to go through 1-bit quantizer, that which makes use of signum function of error value multiplied with the delta. So here in fact we'll end up with positive delta, and if the output here we are getting positive delta, then encoder will transmit symbol 1. So for this time interval, symbol 1 will be transmitted. So this is how the entire system works. So this is about delta modulation and how to simulate this delta modulation. So if you are having any doubts regarding this MATLAB simulation, so please do type it in the comment section below, and we'll meet in our next class. So till then, stay safe and healthy. Thanks for watching.